Hi, I'm Mark and this is Foothill Paint Fabrication. Today we're going to be spraying some color and clear on the bed, running boards, and the tailgate here behind me. But before we get to that, we got a little bit of masking to do on the running boards on the underside. I got a little trick I want to show you, and then we can start mixing up some paint. So let's just jump right into this. We need to do a little bit more masking before we're ready to spray the color and clear. I've got the running boards on the underside where I sprayed the bed liner. That needs to be masked. I've already done the bed. It's masked and ready to go. So all we have to do is these. So I'm going to show you a trick I learned a long time ago to get tape to stick to surfaces it doesn't want to stick to. So let's jump over and get going on getting these masked, and then we'll be that much closer. Okay, you know, a lot of times you're trying to tape something off and the tape just doesn't want to stick to rubber molding or plastic or something, and it's you know, it's really hard to deal with because you got to get it masked. You wipe it with solvent, you clean it, and it still doesn't want to quite stick that well. So when I was masking the bed over this bed liner, it did want to stick. Now it's a textured surface, so it's tough to stick to anyways, but it just wasn't sticking properly. So I cleaned it with solvent. That didn't do the job. And I remember back a trick we used to use at the place I used to work about putting stickers onto plastic. So we had seen a demo or something where they showed us just to wave a propane torch over the top of it, just really lightly. You don't get it hot or anything. You just kind of burn off whatever's on the surface, and it works like magic. So I'll bring you in tight and show you how I do that. Maybe I can get a before and after. I'll do it where I wave this over and where I don't, and try to show you how much better the tape sticks. So let me bring you in tight and let's take a shot at this. All right, so we're gonna have to mask underneath here all the way around and around this lip here, and just kind of envelop this so we don't get blue all over it. And like I was saying, on the bed, that's where I started, and it just didn't want to stick well. So let me grab the propane torch, and what we'll do is here, I'll put a piece of tape down right here. This nothing's been done to it. This is just plain old 3M contractor grade tape. And we're gonna rub that down real good. It's about 60 degrees in the shop, so it's warm enough so this tape should stick. Now we're just gonna wave this propane torch over, and it's just like this, just this quick. Just a little couple of quick wipes. It doesn't even get warm, you know. And we'll just kind of wave that over that like that, and that's it. Now let's put a piece of tape down. I'm gonna let that cool. It did, you know, I can feel a little warmth from waving that over. So I'm gonna let it cool so it's not like I heated it up and the tape sticks better. Then we're gonna go and stick this down. I'll rub it in good. I've already rubbed this one in real good. So I'm going to peel on this real lightly. I don't know if you guys can tell. It comes up pretty easy. And this one, it takes quite a bit more tug to get that to come off. So this really works. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to run this propane torch just around here. All the spots I need to do. And it's just the flame, it's not a big deal, you know, you can wave your hand over it, and that's really all we're doing here. And I'm just going to go around up underneath here and just kind of burn all this, whatever that is on there. I have no idea what rose to the surface on this bed liner that's making this tape not want to stick. And frankly, I don't really care as long as the tape sticks and doesn't fall off while I'm spraying. So we're just going to wave around this a couple times here. Make sure I get everything. It's kind of hard to get up underneath that lip. And I got some holes that I need to mask over, so I want to make sure I get around those as well. So if you can wave your hand in front of this flame and not hurt it, then you should be able to do it to, you know, maybe a plastic molding or something. You could try it in an inconspicuous area to make sure it's not going to damage it at all, and then see how it goes. So now we're ready to mask. So I just wave that around there. and we're going to get some masking done here, just like that. All right, we're getting close to the end of the roll and the roll on the tape, so we'll see how far this paper goes. And then, so the plan is just to mask up underneath here, you know, have it stick like that and have the paper lay over, and then mask a piece here and then just seal it. So it's not rocket science by any means. So I'm going to go through real quick. Before I do that, I've got a few holes down here that I need to mask to make sure no blue blows through. If I start masking, I'll forget about them, and then I'll blow a bunch of blue paint inside there. So let me get those real quick. All right. About as long as my arms will reach. Stick this up underneath here, and hopefully our little propane torch trick worked like it did on the bed. As you can see, that undercoating kind of wrapped around a little bit, so we're just going to spray blue over it. This all faces down, you'll never see it unless you're laying underneath the truck or you have it up on a lift. So I'm going to rub that real good. And when I do this, I'm not going to seal these together until I can rub both sides real good and get them really stuck on there. So now I'm pushing real hard. As you can see, I'm pulling, and that tape doesn't want to come loose. So the propane trick worked, propane torch trick worked. Just like that. And we'll just back mask this all the way around. Watch out for spot welds. All right, so I'm just going to mask both of these real quick, but I just wanted to show you a little trick. If you're having trouble getting the tapes to stick to something, consider giving the propane torch trick a try. Just wave it over there real lightly and then test the tape again. If it feels like it's working, then kind of go over the rest of it. And it should help. It's worked for me. I found that it burns off whatever release agents, and also if there's a little bit of dust on there that you can't quite get off, that flame will actually burn that dust away and help the tape stick. So I'm going to mask these up real quick, and we'll get that much closer to spraying some color and clear on this stuff. All right, we're all done. All I did was back mask it and have to tape it here and there. I used one sheet for the whole thing, just taped it, brought it over, and then stuck it to that, ran my hand down through the back side. So we're ready to go on this one. I'll do the other one, and we'll be all done. Kind of a pain, but got to do it. Okay, now that we got the running boards all masked up, I've got them set up here on one of my racks. They're blocked up so I can spray up underneath. Got that, everything masked off real nice. They're up here nice and sturdy, so I can spray all the way around them. Bed's over here up on its rack, rolling rack. It was masked off previously. And I've got a couple of blocks here so I can step over. I'm going to have to climb inside here to paint. So I needed a couple of blocks. I'm not tall enough to step over this without dragging my crotch on there, which would be bad, real bad. But we're ready to go. We got everything pretty much cleaned up, blown off. I've got to do a couple of small little housekeeping things, and then we're going to mix up some paint. Okay, let's get this paint mixed up. I've already stirred it up in the can. We're going to pour off. We got quite a bit of coverage inside and outside of the bed, the running boards, and the tailgate. So I'm going to mix up a full container, a full quart here. So it's 1-to-1 on this. So we'll be pouring up to that port right there. And our reducer's a little bit slow for the temperature in the shop right now, so we're going to have to wait a little bit longer in between coats, excuse me. But it's not going to be a problem. Sometimes you don't have the exact speed reducer you need, so you have to adjust on your time in between coats. Let me get another paper towel out here real quick, just in case I spill. I'll go ahead and pour this off. The second pour is a lot easier than the first. And we'll stop right there. Always try to keep everything as clean as possible. Paint out of the lip there, off my gloves. So, since this isn't reactive reducer, I can use the same stir stick and keep going back and forth. This is just reducer. The lid on here. Always try to keep the lid on. You don't have to seal it tight. You don't know if you're going to need more, but always keep the lid on. And this is 1-to-1, so we'll go right up to here. And if you pour from with the spout like I have it here with it up, then it keeps it from chugging into your container and splashing everywhere. And right there. All right. Okay, so we're just going to get this mixed up real quick, stirred up, I mean, and then we'll get the gun loaded. Okay, I got it thoroughly mixed in, the reducer. The consistency looks really good. We're going to go ahead and pour this off. And I will do like I usually do, and what I'll do is I'll just pour onto the stir stick there, and then I'll just pull it away. And I'll be loading about half a cup or half a container here, because I have I gotta go spray upside down, kind of not upside down, but up in some nooks and crannies and stuff to get started. So I don't want to load it up too much. We'll just let that drip in there. Make sure my air breather hole is open. We're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go turn on the exhaust while that's doing the final dripping there, and then we'll get to spraying. Okay, I've got everything blown off and tacked off. You've seen me do that before. So I've got to get in and get some of these underside areas and some of these hard to reach areas to make sure that they've got good coverage, so I don't have to worry about them when I'm laying down large panels. So I'm going to go around and get the tailgate. I got a few areas there. I'm going to get around the lips underneath the sides of the running boards and this bed as well. So we're ready to go. Okay, I got all the hard to reach areas. I got the pattern turned down pretty small, and as you can see, had the air running, and then I would just goose the trigger a little bit to let a little bit of paint out so I could get it to go down inside there. Now, if you have trouble getting it down inside nooks and crannies, you got to turn the gun a little bit or turn the air pressure down and make that more of a conical shape pattern instead of a fan. And because you're just trying to get color in there, it's down inside a hole, nobody's going to really see it, but you got to have color coverage. So that's why I do that. Now I got to let this flash off a little bit before I can put color on the outside, because it's, you know, I've got a couple of good coats around the tops of these. It was unavoidable. It hits around the lip while you're trying to get down inside the hole. Other than that, it all looks pretty good. We've got all the hard to reach areas, so I shouldn't have to worry about those once I start painting. They're going to get paint as I paint anyways, as I make my passes, but I wanted to make sure I get down inside those nooks and crannies and pay real close attention to it. It's the worst thing when you're shooting clear and you're all done and you see a part and you got a light spot, you know, it's really hard to fix then. So we're going to let this flash off a little bit, and then I'll adjust the gun back out and we'll start laying some paint down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start on the inside, and then I'll do the outside, then the running boards, and the tailgate. Okay, we got a coat on everything. It all looks good. I went back and hit a few spots that seemed a little lighter than the other parts, and when I get the second coat on, that way I can put a nice even coat. Should cover everything. I'm going to let it tack up, or flash off all the way, excuse me, and then I'm going to tack everything off with a tack rag, and then we'll put the second coat on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and tack everything off real lightly with a tack rag. Just get some of this dust floating around from the blue. Dries in the air and then it falls back on the vehicle or the panel, and then get a little blue. So better wipe all that off real lightly. A lot of weird angles on this thing to get. So the gun was spraying up over past stuff a lot. So I'll run through this real quick. We'll get another coat on it. Okay, so I got it all tacked off. The next step is for me to go around, not just hitting the panels completely, but hitting any light spots or anything I may have missed right now, and then I'll go back over to another panel and start spraying it while that flashes off. So I got a little line here. I didn't do the edge of that. I don't know how I missed it. And there's a few other little light spots here and there that I want to hit before I put the second coat, possibly the final coat. I'll probably put a second coat, and then I'll put a control coat over the top of everything, make sure it's all nice and even. So let me grab the respirator and go touch up some of these spots, and then we'll get a second coat on it. Okay, here I am getting started on the second coat. I'm really watching my overlaps, trying to keep everything nice and even. The back of the cab here I can do in one pass, but the sides, since I'm confined inside that bed, I was really worried about bumping into something and being comfortable and keeping the gun at a nice even distance from the sides. So I did it in 3 pieces on the sides there. I just went over it a little bit, step right over and make sure I don't touch the paint. And then we're just going to go through and get a good second even coat on everything, and then we'll be ready for a control coat. All right, so we got it covered really well. I'm really happy with the way it looks. I'm going to go ahead and spray a control coat over the whole thing anyways, just to be safe. It is a metallic blue, and the control coat will make sure it evens out and looks nice. We're spraying this truck in pieces, so it's very important to make sure all the pieces, when they're bolted together, look the same. So I'm going to spray a control coat on this. And I'm going to follow that up right away since I'll be backing off. I want it kind of a wet on wet. I'm going to let this flash a couple of minutes, and then we'll get the control coat going. For the control coat, there's a lot of videos out there on control coats. What you do is you reduce your pressure a little bit, back away, turn your volume down just a tad. A lot of guys do differently. And what you do is you're trying to almost fog the color on. So you even out everything, especially the metallic. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this real quick, and then we'll be done with the base coat. Okay, here I am just going to check the pattern. I've already adjusted the gun. I just want to make sure it looks good at that distance and that fan size. And here I am just laying it down. You can see moving quite a bit faster, distance quite a bit farther away from the panel, and the fan is adjusted much larger than it was when I was putting the other 2 coats on. So the control coat really helps even out the metallics and the colors. Now solid colors, you really don't have to worry about a control coat. Whites, blacks, reds, you know, stuff like that. Solid colors are easy peasy. But metallics, iridescence, silvers, if you got a silver, it's very hard to spray. Orange, metallic or pearls, almost impossible to spray. But the control coat will really help you out on those colors and keep your panel from being blotchy or tiger stripes as you've seen on other cars. So That's just about it on the control coat. We're going to wrap this up here and call it good. Okay, I got the control coat sprayed. Everything looks good. I'm going to go over it with a light real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And then if it all looks good, then we'll go ahead and clean the gun, and we're going to let this set about, now the instructions call for 20 minutes. Although we are about 10 degrees under what the reducer is designed for, so I'm going to give it a good 30 or 40 minutes, and it's getting a little late in the day, so I may just go ahead and wait till tomorrow to spray the clear. And that's a good thing about this base coat. It can stay open for 7 days. I've never done that, but that's what it says it can do. So I think possibly tomorrow morning I'll start spraying clear. The last thing I want to do is be in here spraying clear and have it start getting dark outside, and these lights will attract every bug for 50 miles. So I may just wait, but right now I'm just going to go over it with the light real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything. Make sure there's no blotchy spots or anything like that. Okay, there's 2 little spots here. There's a couple of bolts on each side here, and it was really hard to get around to the back side of them. It looks a little light to me, so I'm going to zap that real quick, and that should be about it. I don't see anything else. All right, that's it. We'll let it dry. Okay, that just about wraps up this video. We're going to stop right here. I was going to shoot a base coat, clear coat video, but I think it's best to stop and not push my luck and rush. It's getting too late in the day to start spraying clear. So we're going to wrap it right here and do another video on spraying the clear. So thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Everyone that has subscribed, thank you very much. And mash that bell icon so you get notifications every time I release a new video. We'll see you on the next one.